Okay, Alexander, let's do a real quick update as to what's going on with Assange. We did a video on this a couple of days ago, and you've got some more news. So, what's the update on Assange? This will be a quick video, but we want to give
Yeah.
everybody an update. What's going on?
Well, well, we had the hearing, and it's incredibly difficult always to know with hearings in the High Court. But for what it's worth, at the moment, I am moderately hopeful. It seemed to me that the prosecutor who was representing the US government, and by the way, the British Crown Prosecution Service, had absolutely nothing new or original or very interesting to say. He made all the usual talking points. He put heavy stress on the US government's assurances. It seemed to me that he was putting more stress on those than on the questions about the medical evidence that they were trying to challenge on, Assange's health. But he was never able to provide, as far as I could see, a convincing reason why those assurances weren't given earlier in the case to the judge herself, to Baritza, the judge in the lower court. And I got the feeling that the High Court judges, the two High Court judges, weren't with him on that issue. Now, I might be wrong about that. It's always very difficult to say. But what I found really very interesting is that the defence, Assange's lawyers, as I'd expected, brought up the whole topic of the Yahoo story about how the CIA had been plotting to kill Assange and all that, which is, a powerful story. And I was expecting the prosecution to come back and to contest that and to dispute it and to say this is just newspaper gossip and media gossip and to invite the judges to ignore it. And they did no such thing. They let the whole thing run on. They didn't challenge any part of that evidence. It was as if they were they just didn't know how to respond to that. And that part of it went uncontested. And at the very end of the hearing, the Lord Chief Justice, Lord Justice Burnett, said to the two parties, well, the lawyers, well, you've given us lots to think about, and we're going to go away and we're going to look at this again. Now, that's always a good sign, because in an extradition case, it's either simple, you extradite someone, or if it's complicated, you generally don't. So for what it's worth, I think it's a good sign.
Okay, any other news that you would like to convey to our viewers, Alexander, with regards to what's going on? I mean, it's a good sign, but anything we should be on the lookout for?
Right. Well, there was a rather interesting exchange between the lawyers, between the prosecution's lawyer and Lord Chief Justice on the question of Laurie Love. Now, Laurie Love was a particular case where the British decided not to extradite him to the US because he was ill. So it's in some ways, it has some similarities to the Assange case. Anyway, the lawyer, the Crown prosecution lawyer, was saying that this case didn't apply because for all kinds of reasons. And the Lord Chief Justice, who was actually the lawyer who decided the Laurie Love case, came back and said the two cases are completely different. Now, there's been some speculation about whether this is favourable to Assange or hostile to Assange, because, of course, it's Assange's lawyers who say that the two cases are the same, and the Crown Prosecution Service, the prosecution who are trying to argue otherwise. But I think the way in which the Lord Chief Justice posed the question was he was arguing with the prosecution's lawyer. So I think it conveyed the sense that he was disagreeing with him. But we'll just have to see. I mean, lawyers, High Court judges are the most sophisticated lawyers in the world. They're extremely difficult to read, their minds. And one can't assume that anything is, favourable or, leaning one way or the other. For the moment, and for what it's worth, I thought on balance their comments were more on Assange's side. They seem to be leaning more to Assange's side than against him. But, let's not It's not in the bag. I might be completely wrong about this. It may be that they're just going through the motions when they're saying that they've been given lots to think about. It may be that their minds are already made up. We can't be sure. But for what I would say, for what it's worth, for all I would say is, this looks so far to be more hopeful than not. I wouldn't put it more strongly.
Okay, we will leave it there for now, and we'll continue to follow this story. Go to theduran.locals.com and go to the Duran shop. 10% off. Use the code REALNEWS, and Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, and Super U. You'll find our videos there. Take care.